Okay, I've got some powers panels here. I'm going to ink and do a rare kind of talking bit through it. Now I've already drawn these in my sketchbook. This is how I did the layouts for these pages. Then I scanned in those sketches, and then I did stuff like these, creating the border lines and such, used other tools and moved things around, touched up some stuff where I needed to, that sort of thing. So I had to basically take my raw layouts and then scan them into Photoshop and then tweak them and stuff and get them ready for the actual page, which I have to enlarge and all that kind of stuff. So I'll just get right into it. I had intended actually on recording the penciling of these panels before I inked them so that I can kind of link the two up, but I accidentally started inking the pages that I had recorded the penciling process on. So I just figured I'll go ahead and for now just do some inks, and then I'll shoot again in the future to capture each step as I go along. So in this panel we've got two figures, and the foreground is a new character. I won't give away who she is, and the background is Deena. Deena is wearing a life vest on right now. Kind of looks like a flak jacket, but I guess I draw flak jackets and life vests to look pretty much the same way. I'm using, this is a Karatuki, I don't know exactly if that's how you pronounce it, brush pen. One of the main things that I like about it is that it is refillable, and you can refill your own ink in there, not just because you want to be able to refill it because it's cheap to be able to fill your own ink instead of using these cartridges over and over again, but mostly because you can use exactly what ink you would like. The brushes, I guess the whole set together, it's like $30 or something, like $35. But then you buy these nibs also to replace after they get worn down. But I find they last pretty long, so I don't mind paying extra. I still actually like the way a real brush feels better than these. I like the variation of lines that I will always get out of a real brush, but I often, sadly, have to make a choice between what I like the best and then what's the most efficient. And using a regular brush, I have to dip the ink, dip the ink, dip the ink. With this, I could just keep going. So, it also depends on what kind of artist you are. I'm all about finishing the page and making my deadlines. I know some of you are laughing right now because Powers is never on time, but let me assure you that there are a lot of different ingredients that goes into Powers. Mostly the way Brian and I choose to live our lives that kind of seem to get in the way of this. Also, it's one thing to be late on your own project versus being late on stuff that you owe for other people. That being said, Brian and I are super dedicated to Powers. Obviously, I mean, we've got the show going on now and stuff, but we've always been dedicated to Powers. It's just, if you're going to screw something up, you're going to screw something up for yourself versus the people who are, paying you or hiring you to do a work-for-hire job. Let's see, what can I say about, I guess, the reason I'm choosing these particular lines, first I think about the lighting source. So the lighting source, this is an outdoor scene. The light's generally coming from above, which is why you'll see thinner lines here, thinner, and it gets a little thicker as it goes down. The reason why this is thicker than this is just to describe the form a little bit better. It would also be pretty boring, I think, if this was just a line that went from thick to thin to thinner. I don't know. Sometimes it's also kind of a pot shot. Sometimes I notice that it's better to actually go the opposite way than the way that you should go on certain choices. And unfortunately, I don't know how to really verbalize why that works. So for instance, Deena's hair, that line is thick because top up here, that's where the sunlight is, so it's going to be thinner. So thin, and then thick here. But then, and I don't know if this is going to work out in this case right here, but then sometimes you could do something like, ooh, that's thicker on top, and that's thinner on the bottom. And I think in this case, it's half of one, 6 of the other, half a dozen the other, however that saying goes. Maybe it's the variation, I don't know. Sometimes doing the opposite thing works really well. Sometimes when an object is bulging out instead of making it thinner, going ahead and making it thicker actually works better. But unfortunately, I'm not. I just can't tell you why that works all the time. Also, her hair is sort of blowing in the wind out here, so she's got a slightly odder shape than she usually has. And her forever worn ear cuffs, which was designed at the end of the 90s, and I guess now ear cuffs are probably not very in. They probably weren't even at the time that I designed them, but I just like them. I like the way they kind of just hug the ear, and I just don't see a lot of that in comics. Sometimes these finer details in the face I will do with a pen and kind of fake a brush line with it, only because of the amount of control that I could get. Also, you notice this is pretty loose because even though this is really undefined right here, just from the experience of working for years, I can take very, very, very loose breakdowns and basically treat them as full pencils. It also comes from a lot of working in the sketchbook. The sketchbook is the big secret, I think, for any artist. The more you sketch, the better you're going to be. And by sketchbook, I mean sketchbook. That means you don't need to have these finished, beautiful drawing pieces in your sketchbook. They're just literally meant for studies, little bits and pieces here. Maybe you're just drawing a nose over and over again, or drawing the spoon that you're staring at the restaurant that you're in. I don't know. But a sketchbook is what I look at as the gym for an artist. You know, a sports guy like Derek Jeter, who I think that's a baseball player. You know, the sports guys, they go to the gym, they go to the batting cage, and they practice, and that practicing is what makes them great. It's not playing the game every week or month or whatever it is. So here I am going to use a pen. This is just a little uniball pen. There's two different sizes I like. There's one slightly thicker than this. This Uniball Vision Micro pen. This is what's called, Uniball Vision Micro. And then I guess the other one that I like is a Uniball Vision Fine. Both of these pens are pretty awesome. This one's a little bit thicker than this one. I'm going to use this on her mouth right here, on her lips. I tend to do a thickier, slightly bulky line. So in the case of her lips, I'm going to make it a little bit more gentle. Don't forget her little butt chin that she's got. Also, as a spoiler here for you guys, when you read the new Powers, the new volume of Powers, Deena's now got a little scar on her eye. Ooh, I wonder how she got that. Eyebrow, boom, boom, eyebrow. When you're drawing the eye, even if you have a cartoony style like mine, don't forget that the eye is a dimensional object. It's not just this football-shaped thing that sits on the face. The eyeball actually comes out a little bit, and that's why you get like these heavier shadows underneath the eye, or get to see a bit of the eyelid. I'm actually really making her extra raccoon-eyed here because Deena's a dark character. She's been through a lot of stuff, so I want that to kind of show in what she's doing. Also, you'll notice when you're looking at it here, the panel that follows, if you could see it, is a closer shot of the same panel. Basically, this panel is a slightly lighter, more of a lighthearted version of what follows up in this panel. It's a question that Deena is asking, so I wanted to shift the mood by moving in closer. Even though it's the same face, I'm going to make minor changes to it to describe her mood and the shift in mood from panel to panel when you see that. But I'm not going to do that here because I want to keep this pretty short. We're at about 10 minutes now. I'm just going to finish this out. There's still details in here I'm going to do. The X means black, so there's going to be a shadow from her head here, shadow from out here. These little shapes in here just sort of describe, in my loose, abstract, cartoonish way, the form that her, what do you call it, life vest is giving out. Some little details here and there, blah, blah, blah. I'm not super happy with that hair, but, you know, again, I can't sit there all day trying to fix stuff. This is fine. Hopefully you're going to be moving throughout the page and not staring at each panel trying to figure out what's right and wrong. I think that's a mistake. I think perfectionism is the enemy of art, especially in comics. But that's just me. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll keep trying to do more of these now that I found this nifty new desk camera thing. It's pretty cool. All right, take care.